The timing of the attack, also the chemical attack, we don't know.
The US blames Syria for a chemical weapons attack on the town of Khan Sheikhoun. But Syria and its main partner Russia are pushing back.
It's not clear whether it happened or not, because how can you verify a video?
Well, here's how. Let's take a look at videos, satellite photos and open source material of that day. They show that Assad and Russia are telling a story that contradicts the facts.
So what happened this day?
The Syrian attack in the same area was at around noon, between 11:30 to 12.
Assad and Russia appear to be distorting the facts with this time frame.
Вчера в период с 11:30 до 12:30 местного времени.
Because evidence shows the attack happened hours earlier.
Allahu Akbar, Khan Sheikhoun, 4/4/2017.
Now, this footage doesn't show the chemical strike itself, but we believe it does show conventional strikes that occurred during the same bombing run. So what's critical here is the timing. We know it's Khan Sheikhoun because the position of minarets and other points in the video match satellite imagery of the town. This tells us the camera was in a northerly position looking south. The sunrise hitting the minarets shows the attack happened in the early morning. And the US military tracked Syrian aircraft to Khan Sheikhoun around this time. The man who filmed the video backed this up, as did a second activist who sent us footage of the attack.
اتجه باتجاه الشمال حتى وصل أجواء خان شيخون في تمام الساعة 6:38 صباحا. قام بتنفيذ أربع قنابل متفجرة في تمام الساعة 6:43.
This timing matches Facebook posts by the cameraman and other local sources reporting the airstrikes. Doctors in the area use WhatsApp to coordinate services. Soon after the bombing, they started to report casualties who had been exposed to a chemical agent. They started calling for help with a growing number of victims. We spoke with one doctor who received patients at a hospital 60 kilometres away.
We started receiving our patients closer to 8:30. The distance between the hospital I was in and the site of attack is about a 45-minute drive.
We're happy to turn this patient away.
So, the evidence shows the chemical attack happened well before Assad and Russia claim.
We don't know where we're going to send these patients now.
In this next clip, pay close attention to Russia's explanation for the chemical attack.
Сирийская авиация нанесла удар в районе восточной окраины населенного пункта Хан Шейхун.
Notice he said large depot on the eastern outskirts, where he claims opposition forces stored chemical weapons. So let's establish what was hit in the morning attack. The first video shows what we believe are 3 conventional strikes. We verified the buildings that were hit using satellite images taken before and after the attack. These comport with photos and videos we received from Khan Sheikhoun. The detail we see in these satellite pictures matches the detail that we see in these photos from the ground. These are not large depots but small buildings, and residents of the town told us they were people's homes. And what else was bombed? More videos from that day show a 4th strike nearby. We don't see the strike in the first video, but we know the crater is new because it wasn't there in earlier satellite photos. And many local sources said this road was hit that morning. The location of this strike is central to the claims of a chemical attack. Remember what the Russian spokesman said? He didn't specify an exact location, but the only buildings near the eastern strike points matching his description are this grain silo and bakery. Videos from 2015 show both buildings were bombed out years before the April airstrike. Could they have been bombed again on April 4? No. The damage we see in this drone footage of the silo, taken just hours after the attack, matches what we see in earlier satellite photos. And the bakery shows no signs of new damage. So what caused the crater that people say is the chemical attack? Eyewitnesses told us that the aircraft made 2 passes that morning, first dropping a bomb near the grain silo and then dropping bombs across the city. International monitors and the US military also say this is where the chemical attack happened. This isn't the only gap in Assad's interview. Asked if he has chemical weapons?
No, definitely. A few years ago, in 2013, we gave up all our arsenal.
He's talking here about Syria's agreement to ship out its stockpiles after a chemical weapons attack near Damascus in 2013.
The chemical agency announced that Syria is free of any chemical materials.
This is not what the Chemical Weapons Agency said once its operation had ended.
Clearly, we cannot say as the Secretariat of the OPCW that Syria doesn't possess any chemical weapons anymore.
And in a 2016 report, the OPCW said there are gaps in Syria's account of its chemical weapons program. Syria has yet to explain the presence of 4 chemical agents the investigators found. One wild inconsistency overarching this whole episode is that the Russians and Syrians don't agree on what happened. The Russians are very specific.
По крупному складу боеприпасов террористов и скоплению военной техники.
The Syrian leader is all over the map.
It could be a store, it could be a warehouse, it could be a depot, it could be a camp, it could be a headquarters. We don't know, but you cannot tell what's within this. So that was one of the possibilities, that the airstrikes attacked a depot of chemical material.
These evasions and distortions are a technique that Russia and Syria have used time and again through this conflict. And while we cannot yet say who is responsible for the attack, we can say that all of the circumstantial evidence points to a chemical weapon being dropped as warplanes passed over Khan Sheikhoun that morning. And one thing is clear: the inconsistencies put Syria and Russia's story in serious doubt.